I don't even remember this is the right one, but yeah, we're back with the best boys. Just best boys, a film podcast with your with the brothers Pitt.
The Pitt Bros.
They're here. Like a couple anime villains.
All right, everyone has been told that I am unavailable. Let's start.
All right,
No interruptions. None.
Tunes are down. We're ready to rock. Yeah, you see, I can tell you've been busier this week. You've had some things going on.
I've been nothing but just pounding food and gaining weight.
Oh, well, who cares about that?
I had a busy week. I got in from LA on Tuesday. I was really supposed to be there till Wednesday night. But I got hired to shoot BTS on some new Mindy Kaling show. It's releasing later this year. It's called The Sex Lives of College Girls. But the person I was supposed to interview got canceled. Yeah, right. I pull the email up and it's just like, oh, I feel like I can't read this email in public because the headline just says "Sex Lives of College Girls." So it's like,
yeah, it's a porno.
Yeah, right. But that ended up getting canceled, so I came home early.
The show got canceled.
No, the interview that I was supposed to shoot. But I did my first day as the DP of behind the scenes for Euphoria on Monday, and it was very exciting. We got a lot of cool shit. I was very nervous, but it went well. Bosses are happy. I'm happy. Hopefully I'll be getting more of this kind of stuff. Well, I already work on the show as the B cam operator, but hopefully I get more DP days. Gotta pad that resume.
That's good. That's great. I'm glad that you've been working, man. It's good to hear that things are coming back.
Like I said, this has been my busiest year so far. Outside of having touring, it's my busiest non-touring year probably ever. We get a lot of local stuff in Pittsburgh too. I'm DPing this little sketch announcement thing for this company's live streaming service on Sunday, and they rented out 2 floors of the Heinz History Center downtown for us to shoot in, and got a decent budget. Our budget was about half. Oh my god, I just scraped a dead bug out of my scalp.
Oh, farm life. # farm life.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I live on a farm, and we've been having a real bad spider problem. And that's not what I picked out of my hair, but there's just been extra finding dead bugs and spiders lately since the weather got hot. But man, it sucks, but it's cool. There's this big fat one on our front porch. Chris calls him Buford T. Justice, and we're not allowed to kill him because he kills a shit ton of flies on the porch. But he's massive. He's fat. He's like the spider's like this big, but super fat.
Buford T. Justice is his name?
Yeah, Chris calls him that. He says it's from Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, okay. Sounds like we might have to put that on the list. It is a classic.
Oh, 100%. It is a classic. This is what we were talking about last night. But how you been? How's your week?
I'm doing good. Same old house life, D&D, and we've been doing Warhammer and Magic, playing a bunch of games, working on things a little bit, exercising. I've lost a little bit of weight, so I'm happy about that. I want to keep that rocking. But yeah, doing this podcast, watching movies, and enjoying it. I've been really excited to talk about the movies we got slated for today for BOOMFEST Part 2.
I had a blast watching both of these. I saw the Dredd in theaters, but the Killer I never saw.
Yeah. I also enjoyed both these easy watches. We'll get to them in a second, but yeah, had a lot of fun. Loved it. Life-changing experiences with one of these films in particular. I would say. Yeah, my mind's a little bit blown. I'm glad that we did this because it just gave me an excuse to watch more John Woo, and yeah, he might be the master of Boomfest for me, the Boomfest master.
I
Um,
I well, we'll get into it when we talk about
yeah,
the
I
show.
know,
But
I can't help it. It just wants to come out. But before we do that, I wanted to. I don't know if we should do this before we talk about the movies or after, but I figure we should at least discuss for a bit the rumors of the Apple A24 the acquisition. And it doesn't seem to be happening now. I looked into it further. Um,
oh, thank
it was
God.
just rumor. It was like they were testing the water, and Apple threw a number out there, kind of a thing, and it was just reported on. So it doesn't appear to be happening, but it just I feel like it's gonna have to happen eventually.
I mean, I hope not. I really want them to stay on their own because like Apple's got so much cash in the bank to just throw around, they could easily buy them. But with them being beholden to no one, that's why we're getting like a steady stream of like good movies out of that studio. And also for personally, A24 finances Euphoria partially, and I don't want my job to be at risk if Apple comes in and is just like, we don't want to spend money on this BTS.
Yeah, I feel that, and that's the problem I would think about as well. Well, firstly, they got something really good going on, and I think putting it in a major corporation like an Apple, but even if honestly, even if Netflix or I mean Disney or any of
No,
these major media companies, HBO, I wouldn't want any of them to buy it. HBO, I'd feel the
I
best about
yeah, because they
because
already collaborate on so many shows
and
together.
HBO does have a lot of prestige, like art oriented
Yeah.
pieces.
As long as
Um,
they keep it away from the Max division,
but
because
like
like
Netflix is just gonna like end up picking it apart. Any of them are just gonna pick them apart until it's a husk of what it used to
yeah,
be. And it might be good for a few years, but it'll eventually, once it's not making the money that they want it to, they will gut it.
mm,
So yeah, I don't want this to happen. I think A24 is the reason why this podcast probably exists. Because it got me really into film. I mean, I was really into movies already. I mean, I liked movies. I was into anime. I was into TV. I like a lot of stuff. I like media in general, but with A24, it kind of really had me looking at movies critically more often. It was just easy because there's this collection of good and they're good films. They're all new. They're from the past decade, and just new young directors and really interesting uses of casting because the budgets are smaller, like mid-budget to low budget indie films. And yeah, it's been a great thing, and I've really been a fan of it. I'm not like a super stan. I was a super stan for a little while. I've kind of fallen off the hype because there's a lot of I was in like an A24 group and stuff like that, but it's kind of devolved into just Ari Aster posting and Robert Eggers posting, which I like both. I love both of their films, but there's so many more great films in that catalog, and I don't want to see it get tainted, and I don't want to see it get fucked with.
yeah, they have they're the most original IPs coming out of a studio, and that's I'm really into that. I think everyone's just sick. Like while you like blockbuster movies, they are great. I love turn your brain off movies. Um, but it's just nice to know that it's not a sequel, remake, prequel,
It
fucking
doesn't move
fake.
things forward. It's like
Yeah.
it's stagnant. And I know that some remakes are good and some superhero movies are good, and it's not
Yeah.
to say that none of that is does. I'm not like Martin Scorsese and saying none of it should exist. I don't think
Yeah.
he's saying that none of it should exist. It's just like we need to make sure we don't we don't disregard real film, real cinema, real
Yeah.
film, and in quotes. And it sounds pretentious, and it is a little bit, but you still, it's not, we're not saying get rid of all the, all the big blockbusters, but
Gotta
don't
have a balance.
neglect the art. And I think what happened in the 90s, there was a huge indie film boom, and it got to a point where studios were just given any indie director money, and a lot of those movies didn't make money,
Yeah, I
and
mean, you had like Fox Searchlight was huge for just given like the sub $10 million budgets
just
to
so
indie films.
many filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, Noah Baumbach, so many of the people on our list, Gregor Araki, great filmmakers came out of that movement. And yeah, it was indulgent to a point, but in the 2000s, it's probably a bit of a backlash to that, a retracting, and you see that with all media in the 2000s, like post 9/11 world, like music has the same problem too. It gets very commercial in that decade, and the last decade has been I think there's been a more balance of both sides. If you want to, and I think it's because of the diversification of media and accessibility, that if you the audience that wants that stuff is gonna go find it if it exists. If you make good shit, there are people out there that will want to consume it. Just because it's not on the level of Infinity War doesn't mean it's not worth putting money into. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, and it inspires things that'll shape the future of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because or it's a breeding ground for the next wave of big directors. You know, think about your some of the most popular filmmakers. They started out making very small indie flicks, and then they got bigger and bigger budgets and whatever. Even fucking George Lucas, which has he's on our list, and I have no Star Wars films of his because I want to see his non-Star Wars films because they're supposed to be good. Pre Star Wars, not Red Tail. He didn't direct Red Tails, actually. I looked into
I thought he directed that.
I thought he did too, and I looked into it, and he didn't. I think he helped, and but I don't. He did his. He's not credited as the director. But he has, American Graffiti and THX, 1138. I think is that it's a bunch of numbers. But yeah, don't want to digress on that. I'm good on A24. I'm glad it's not happening, but it worries me that it's gonna keep being tried and someone's gonna throw out a number big enough. I believe the number was in the billions.
It have to be.
It was big. And it's not like that. That proves the valuation that A24 is a solid sized company, a corporation or whatever it is. I don't know if it's public or not. But Apple is just that much fucking bigger. I think it's a good move. I think Apple. People talk about that there is some better original programming on Apple TV. People talk about Ted Lasso a lot. They say Ted Lasso is a good show.
I've heard of that. I've seen an episode of that show from the Always Sunny guy from Mac from Always Sunny.
Yeah, Dad made us what? Mystic Quest.
Yeah. I liked it. It was a nice episode.
It was fine. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. I'd probably watch the whole season.
Yeah, I definitely. Just because it's nice seeing those guys. It's nice seeing that guy in something other than It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, yeah. And there's other people in it. Haley Joel Osment, I thought, was in the one episode.
Yeah.
Or he's in the show. I think he's just a regular. But yeah, there was other people too. But yeah, I only saw the one episode. But yeah, what do you think? Are you ready to boom, baby?
Yeah, let's do it.
Boom, boom, boom. I didn't get the drops.
Here comes the. Ready or not.
Yeah, we can't get that sample, but so Kory's just got to recreate it, and until we get tagged for his perfect cover.
I'm just gonna bleep out the word boom then, because then it's not complete.
What do you want to talk about first?
We finished with the raid last week, so I feel like we should just start with Dredd, just because the comparisons.
I think that's a good idea too. I thought starting. I think Dredd also is. The Killer is a much, I think, more important film historically, but
I feel like we're gonna have a lot more to talk about with The Killer.
Yeah, but not only that, but I think to millennials and younger, the Dredd's probably a more familiar film to them. So I think we should probably start with that. Not that we're excluding any older folks that might be out there.
But well, I guess I'll start opening thoughts. love this movie. This like I liked it the first time. I really liked it again this time. I love the cinematography, the color palette. I love the. I was looking into it. It's very tried to do sparing use of CGI, only when needed. So it's a lot of practicals, and they did the same thing like the Raid for budget constraints, where they just built one floor and then just kept repurposing it over and over. But unlike the Raid, I felt like it was. Granted, this had a way bigger budget. This is 40 times the budget, but
Yeah, I
at
could
least
really
felt like.
tell, and I could really tell in the Raid that it was
Yeah,
the
this
same
one
floor.
it felt like they had the budget to make the same floor feel fresher. Um, I love the use of high speed. So I was looking into it. I guess all those slow mo shots that are shot at like 4,000 frames per second, and then they would take an air cannon to just blast people's skin to give the bullet impact effect, and then they would just add the bullet in post. And I just thought that looked so cool, like when they're doing the slow mo drug stuff.
Oh, the slow. So I was gonna say this later at some point, but the slow mo drug stuff is the coolest part about the movie. I think to me,
Oh, it is
I think
such an
that's the thing
aesthetic.
that it holds up so well. It looks really cool. It's hyper stylized. And it's like rainbow and it's glittery. It kind of reminds me of the Google Dream Machine stuff,
Mm.
but it's more glittery than that. Loved. I thought that's my favorite part about the film. Not that the film is bad. That was like perfectly executed. Every one of those sequences, I'm like, this is
Mhm.
great. And even Rissa's watched. She didn't watch the whole thing with me, but she watched the ending, where the Lane Hades character falls, and
Mhm.
it looks so good. She's like, this looks so good, and like, yeah, it obviously is green screened and all that, but there's something that looks cool about it aesthetically.
Well, think about it. This came out in like 2010 or 2012 with only a $40 million budget. Like that is so for what they accomplished with this. Like this looks so good. Um, and I also was reading that like even with the big city shots, those are that's not CGI.
Well,
Only the
yeah,
gigantic buildings are
yeah, I know.
CGI, but
Well,
everything
see,
else
I
is
thought
real.
that looked bad. I thought the city looked obviously like like a present day city with just a
Mhm.
couple CG future skyscrapers. So that was where the budget for me, the budget became obvious, and especially in the beginning, where
Mhm.
they tried to show you the city. The Mega City one just looks so. Once you've seen the Sylvester Stallone Dredd and how it looks like a real ass cyberpunk city, that this
Mhm.
isn't. It doesn't feel that way until you get into like down on the ground, and then it
But you
feels
gotta
better.
This was during the era of like the Christopher Nolan trying to make like comic books more real. So I guess their thought was like, let's just shoot a real big city and then just add the buildings, like the giant ones in, and try to make it like sell it. But I don't know. I was fine with it.
I
Um,
think I had to suspend my belief.
because
I
in the
prefer the
Stallone Dread,
aesthetic of the Stallone Dread.
on the Stallone Dread, all their outside stuff takes place on one street. Uh, just
Yeah. You're
repurposed.
right. It does. Because that's the same thing with like the Super Mario Brothers movie and like there's all those
Yeah,
kind of outdoor sets where it looks like it's a whole city, but it's just one street.
yeah,
Um, but I like the way it looks. It looks lived in and feels better.
yeah.
I don't think this is like terrible or anything. I think just the budget showed and for that.
Mm.
Um,
Like
s-
if
so
I was gonna say, if you had just even like 10 million more dollars just to put into uh the widening of the scale or the
And I didn't like
bettering
that it
of the
was
scale.
day. Like I think the daytime also didn't do it any favors. I get, and then
Yeah.
maybe they're trying to subvert because a lot of um cyberpunk cities are usually gloomy and foggy and dark.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm forgiving for it because of the budget, so it's not like I literally have a note that says budget looks low for the city. City
Mm.
stuff lower.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely
so
everything went into like the slow-mo and the effects with all that.
So this is directed by Pete Travis, who I'm not familiar with, but it was written and produced by Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina. I think
Mm.
he's a showrunner of Devs and American Gods.
So
He,
this was the thing last week where we talked about where I said I'm pretty sure somebody else directed this, not the credited director. It's Alex Garland. Alex Garland is the actual director. He's just not credited as it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I thought you. I thought that you meant because he's made good stuff since then.
yeah,
He's wrote books. I think he wrote The Beach. He wrote.
yeah. This is considered his first directing film.
Yeah,
like
the
big
guy's got
directing.
he's a well-rounded. He's kind of like Neil Gaiman. He just does a bunch of
Yeah.
different shit.
But it makes sense why this holds up and it is good. Because I liked Ex Machina a lot. I think this guy definitely has a good eye
It's
for
a
sci-fi.
way different film than Dredd, but I think it uses the low budget and makes it really like Ex Machina
Yeah,
works because it doesn't need a budget. It still feels like future.
yeah. But it's like
Um,
he's get you a girl who can do both. Like he
no,
can.
definitely, he's a good when he's this good science fiction writer.
Yeah.
Like that's what he did before he even did movie stuff, and then like Danny Boyle did The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's based on one of his books. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
It was like right after he did. I think it was before 28 Days Later, I believe.
Uh, oh, how did you feel about in the beginning with the skinning alive scene? I was like,
So
this looks
it was like
wild.
randomly really gory in the beginning, and then they just flashback. Like the all I can say is Avon Barksdale. The I forget the fucking actor's name. I should have wrote this down. But the early bad guy of the film.
Talk about the guy
Wood
they arrested,
Harris. He's
dragged
played by
around.
Wood Harris. And yeah, he's like the torturer, and there's a psychic character which we're gonna get to, and definitely gonna have to get to in a second. That like peers into his mind, and it's so fucked up in there because of all the torture and sex stuff in there.
Mm.
I thought it was I thought it was like random, but I thought it was cool. Like I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I thought it looked good too. Like it was practical and it
It
looked.
kind of looked like Saw. Like all the times that they would flash back to it, it was very like it also got colored like a hostile Saw looking thing,
Mm.
where it's like the frame rate was weird or something that was like kind of like flashy, or his effect. I don't know.
It's like that low shutter speed.
Before we get too deep into it, slow shutter speed. That's what it looked like. Before we get too deep into it, the chase scene in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I just kept reminding me of the Deadpool test footage. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like because it was like simple, but it was effective. The only difference was the drug, like the drug things. I don't know why. It just evoked that to me, and I don't know. I'm curious why that did, but it felt like that.
I don't know. I chuckled at this when I watched it. Whenever in that chase scene, they because you're thinking about like for some reason I was just thinking about civilian casualties, and then that van that they're in just plows through a pedestrian. Dredd drives past and just looks at the pedestrians, just like keeps going. I don't know.
Well, yeah, funny. I mean, the civilian casualties. We can talk about we'll get there with the ending, because of that. It's one of the biggest things I think to talk about. I don't know if I have problems with it necessarily. I just like I need to talk it out with somebody because I don't know if I fully understood it. So great cast. I think it's a really great cast for the budget.
I think it was perfect.
Wood Harris plays. I keep calling him Avon Barksdale, but he's like the main henchman. Well, yeah. What was his name?
That was just K.
K. Well, that's probably why I didn't remember it because it's not a memorable name.
I'm talking about the dude who looks like the guy from Never Back Down 1.
I don't think he looks like him, but he's black.
No, I don't know. He looked like a younger. Yeah, to me, he looks like a younger version of him.
Digimon Hansu.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this Wood Harris. His character's name is K. Yeah, Kay. But so he's great, and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones is in it, and I was looking it up. Like, so this must have been made between season 1 and season 2 of Game of Thrones, because I was like, oh, is this pre Game of Thrones? And no, they must have been trying to get her while she's cheap and it's early in the show while it's popular. I think it was something like that. But she's great as the villain, and I haven't heard her do an American accent in maybe ever.
I like that they did for the that she's a very hands-on, not just the I'm a bad girl who's
I
just
pull the
hot.
strings. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I tell people
she
what to
actually is just
do.
like getting her hands dirty and all that shit. Like I thought that was cool. Um, yeah, great. I don't know. Overall, great cast. Carl Urban is so good. His chin
Ah,
is just so perfect for this.
he's got the look. Yeah, I don't know. There's something that I thought was a little bit of wooden about his delivery, and I'm not like I wanted to. I'm not like I thought Sylvester Stallone's was better. Um,
I like Carl Urban's better than Sylvester Stallone.
I like them both in different ways. I think that they are different shades. I obviously like that Carl Urban doesn't take his helmet off ever, like the
Yeah.
real Judge Dredd. I think
I,
Sylvester Stallone's got the chin for it. I got a better chin for it because it's longer, like the comic book character. But
yeah.
not if you. But I'm fine with Carl Urban. I like him. I don't know. I like him. Obviously, I like him in other things.
I like the more subdued delivery. He doesn't really like yell that often. It's very much like fucking just the low grumble. Like he's just somebody who's just fucking
He's very
like
stoic.
so sick of
It's
this
it's
shit.
very man of few words, stoic, masculine, uber masculine character.
Yeah,
Um,
like Trevor Lewis is cool. Is definitely sick of this shit. He's done. It seems like he's just done it forever. But also seems I like that instead of like in the Stallone one, it's like Judge Dredd's like famous and shit. Where this one is just like Judge Dredd seems to be earlier. I would say I guess earlier in the career.
I mean, he seems to
'Cause
be known, but it's not like he's like so
it's not
famous.
like
Like everyone's like, oh no, it's Dredd, and oh
yeah,
shit, Dredd,
exactly. Yeah,
Dredd,
like I
Dredd, like a superhero. Yeah.
yeah, I would have loved if this got a sequel though. And I understand why it didn't because it didn't make its money back on in the box office, but it did with DVDs and Blu-ray sales, but it didn't in the box office, so it never got greenlit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm mixed on this film. I don't think it's bad at all, and I'm glad it exists. But I don't know if this take is the one yet.
Mhm.
So Anderson is the other person in the cast we haven't talked about with the psychic. She has psychic abilities, so that's why she can't wear a helmet. And she's played by Olivia Thirlby, who is, and it took me forever. I'm like, who is this chick? How like did they just pull her out of nowhere? She is the best friend in Juno,
Oh,
like the with
wow!
the
I haven't seen it
hamburger
in a
phone.
while.
With the
Yeah,
hamburger phone. I've seen this movie before. Didn't know that. And I put it
yeah,
together,
I
and
had
I
no
was
idea.
just like, wow, like she was like trying to get out there after that, and she did. I looked at her filmography, and she's worked decently steadily, but there was these few films like Juno. I think she did these were one of the first films she did after that. It was like an indie try to break through kind of thing. I don't know how I feel about her performance. I don't like hate it, and I think I like the character written better than I like her performance. It
Mhm.
feels weird to me. Um, I don't know
That
why it doesn't work fully. But I don't know what can't describe it.
I
It
liked
just
it when she was like doing the getting in the mind, like Kay's mind, and
there were
she's
moments. There was
like
moments.
what is it called where she's like he's like trying to make her like blow him in his mind and then she just like appears. It's like, oh, like I can do shit too. Like I thought that was cool. Like I thought she delivered that well. um but I mean, I guess I could see what you're saying, but it was like a performance where it's like I didn't notice it being bad, so to me it's good. It's kind of like a movie score where
I
let's say it's
felt
inherently bad,
I
like
don't know. I felt like something was missing. I felt like something was missing from the performance, and it just wasn't clicking with me. But I didn't like. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. It wasn't
I mean, there
bad.
definitely wasn't a lot of like weight on her in like a like where you need to like really show a lot of heavy emotion and shit. Like, and same for Dread too. Everything just seemed to be like like it felt like they could die at any moment, but it also felt like they were still in control of the situation. And in doing that, like even when she gets like taking like hostage for a little bit, it was just like what I mean. It doesn't feel like there's nothing to give them to show like crazy acting chops. And maybe that's why. But
Yeah. It might just that might be the problem. Is I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that was the only question I had in the cast. Everything else was pretty good. Um. I don't. It was good. It was a good movie. It was cool. I liked the. It didn't feel as repetitive as the Raid, like you said. Even if I could tell they were on the same floor, it was like varied enough.
Being 12 minutes shorter makes all the difference.
The story is so much better. It actually matters, and I actually following it, and I know what's going on, and when the other judges came, it was super cool. Like the crooked judges and came and fought Dredd, and there was like a weird there was a weird scene where like Dredd gets shot and has to and Anderson has to help him perform aid on him, and they just don't show it. She like starts help or like no, she doesn't even help him. He's doing it on himself, and then it's just like, well, how did you do the one on your back? And they just cut it past. And it's like didn't show the woman helping him, but later in the movie when she's shot, there's this like few minute sequence or a shot of him helping her clean her wound. And I'm just like, and Riss is like, why couldn't they show the man be weak?
I mean, it's got to just.
Why can't they show the man need help? And I was like, I'm sure it's for time. It was more of a time thing. I'm sure they shot that.
A Dredd character thing where it's like you got to build him up to be this like fucking impenetrable wall, so it's like
but he obviously like if you watched it and you actually thought about the shots, you would understand by context that she had to have helped him
for sure
put the thing on his back. It's like you couldn't show it, can't show it. I'm sure it was cut for time, but it was something funny that they kept the one where he helps her, but she helped him earlier.
I mean, I could totally see it as just being like it's Dredd's supposed to be this badass, so it's like it's implied, but we don't need to see it because it might make him look like less. But but in reality, you would just make him more human. It would humanize a little bit more and ground it a little bit more. Or it was just cut for time. Who knows? But I would say it's the former. Based on especially with the time frame that's coming out, like this being in production since like 2009 or something, 2010.
The similarities to the Raid are interesting. I think we figured it out last episode, but that
I dived in
fell.
Yeah, I dived in deeper on it, and so it's literally just a case of similar ideas happening at the exact same time in different parts of the world, and that's it. It's just a sheer like Dredd started going into
it literally is a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that they released at the same time. Like the Raid came out a year before, but Dredd was in production for 2.5 years before the Raid was. And so it's and with that guy, the Welsh director for the Raid, not Gareth Evans, not Edward, Gareth Evans. He doing his shit in Indonesia, like was on his own indie wise. Like it wasn't a case of like script getting tossed around Hollywood. So it's like it is just sheer coincidence. But I would say while the Raid is probably some of the best like mix of martial arts and brawler combat choreography I've seen in a movie, I think Dredd is a better movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Raid, I think, is revolutionary in its fight scenes and its martial arts. In the martial arts, it incorporates in the style. But as far and like it was really clever premise that the movie has a really clever premise. But as far as the premise is only a vehicle for the action, whereas this feels like that there's still story beats in that matter, and it's more cohesive as a film, and it's easy to follow, and it's not like that the Raid was complex and I wasn't able to follow it. It's just like I kind of cared more for these characters, all of them, even the bad ones. So go ahead.
I was gonna say everybody had more shit to do. Like there was. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, well, there was like an A plot and a B plot, and it wasn't just like, and then like the twists. I didn't like the twists in the Raid.
I didn't. Yeah, the twist at the end was so confused.
Well, and even in the Secret Brother, and I guess you said they planned it in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I So I want to talk about the EMT character because I did not understand what they did, like what their function was, because they had access to all the criminal records and database and everything, and they were like going through like people in prison records and stuff. I'm like, this guy's just an EMT. Like, how does he know have all this? I guess he works out of the building, so he knows the controls it. But just like the computer access to all these files about criminals and shit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
okay,
like that they had a ready thing graphic of just Mama's control of the building over time, just ready to go.
yeah, oh yeah. That kind of stuff was like, oh, I don't. What the fuck? I didn't hate it, but it's just I literally thought my note is I thought this guy was an EMT. Like is he more than this? Like,
I mean, the judges are, they're cops, jury, and executioner.
that's
and
true. That's true. So maybe the EMTs are just they're cops and EMTs.
They're EMT, they're CSU, they're fucking
forensics.
Yeah, they're everything. They're intelligence.
Oh, maybe maybe that's what it is. They do forensics and stuff.
Who knows?
Lab work. So the slow-mo breach scene, we were talking about the slow-mo drug scenes earlier, but when he's breaching into the room, that's probably my favorite. That's my favorite part of the whole movie. It's so cool. So fucking cool. That is the peak of the movie. You could just watch that scene alone and it's cool. Like if I was going to show somebody a scene to be like, you should watch this, that is the one I'd show.
I would say if you want to do any kind of slow-mo action, like I had written down Zack Snyder, this is how you do slow-mo action.
I thought the same thing. Oh my god, I thought the same thing. I was like, this is how you use slow-mo. And this movie is, well, both of our films today are how you fucking use slow-mo.
Yeah, I have a note about that.
It might be a different style of slow-mo, but it definitely is a cool, two different ways of slow-mo that are cool as fuck. One more modern and one older. We forgot to mention Donald Gleeson. Who's also he's an ex machina too. Well, those are contacts, obviously.
Yeah, they made it. Like, I didn't know if that was like CGI enhanced in post or whatever, because in no other movie do his eyes look like
those are contacts.
No, I'm talking about the sheer size.
Well, it's because of I think it's because of the black, like the pupil being a different proportion. It like makes it like an optical illusion. Like it makes his eyes bug out. Look like they're bugged out a little more.
He looked like he had Alita Battle Angel eyes, and I was like, it was something I didn't notice the first time, but because I didn't know who Donald Gleeson was, and then now that I've seen him,
he's in Ex Machina. He's in Alex Garland's.
No, like at the time that I had originally watched this.
Originally, He didn't. He didn't know he was in Star Wars.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to be a space Nazi in Star Wars.
I don't really have any much. I don't really have any other notes really, except for I have a thing that says, "Step outside the door, and we are gonna blow the fuck out of you." There's a line in this film.
I was gonna say the only other thing I had was just
the ending I want to talk about.
This is before the ending.
Yeah. Okay.
When they go to drop off the dude at like the little medical thing, and the guy's just like, "No judges. So I'm not letting the judges in." Like,
they fucking EMT. Like, what is who said? Well, I don't know. You're a free agent and all this. I guess.
Yeah, it was just like I was like, really, you couldn't let him just come in for a second, get a drink of water, like who are you afraid of, the judges or fucking Mama? Like, who's the bigger threat?
Yeah, you're gonna go to jail forever, or you're gonna get killed.
Yeah. Like they and also like they have the power to literally execute you legally on the spot, either camp. So it's like you're fucked either way. But I would go with at least the law. Like in this case, I don't know. I just wrote down fucking medbay ?
Yeah, that EMT character, I had question marks every time he had a scene. I didn't understand him. I didn't understand his role, and I didn't understand his job. I didn't understand.
Yeah, well,
whose side he was on.
He was really pulling the strings.
And then they just killed him, and then the judges come and kill him, and I was like, oh well, guess I'll never find. Guess I'll never know. But the ending is, I think I think it could be argued to be cool or awkward. So Mama, Lynn Headey, has Hetty, I don't know if it's Hetty or Headey, has a a thing built into her arm, and she tells Dredd if her heart stops, then this whole building's going down, and if this building goes down, it'll take out the block, and shitloads of people will fucking die. It'll be 9/11 shit.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. Essentially, a 9/11 will happen if I die, and Dredd's just like, well. But he gets her high and throws her off the fucking building. Or he shoots her instantly, and I'm like, okay, well maybe he wounded her. So he knew he has to take her in or whatever, so they can get this bomb out, whatever. And nope, he takes drugs, gets her high, and is like, you're gonna fall forever. In the beginning of the movie, there's a line, and they're like, oh, if they're in high, well they fell, wouldn't it feel like they're dying forever? And that's what happens to Mama.
Just splats on the ground. But I guess the logic there is that the signal wouldn't reach from all the way down there to the top floor where like it needs to be.
Yeah, but don't usually those sorts of things like go off when they could go out of signal, like in every version of that supervillain thing,
I mean, I have it up on the because I was browsing through the Wikipedia page to refresh before this, and just on the end it's just reasoning that the detonator signal will not reach the explosives on the ground floor. Dredd forces her to take slow-mo and throws her off the ledge.
So it was a real thing. So all right, that's unclear and bad. Not doesn't make the movie bad, but that was. I
mean, it's a badass moment to just be like, "You're gonna tear the whole block. I don't give a fuck," and then just kill her.
I thought so. So my interpretation of it, which I think is cooler, is that he was just like, "Oh, I don't give a fuck about civilians. I'm here to establish justice, and justice will be served, and you will be executed. Consequences be damned."
Yeah, that's probably the better way to look at it.
I think that makes it cooler. It makes Dredd a more, kind of a bad. I mean, he's a fascist. He's a fascist. So
I am the law.
It makes sense that he wouldn't care, and just like, well, I'll call your bluff, and we'll see what happens. And then it didn't happen. He just like smiles on the roof. I'm like, okay, you just knew you weren't gonna die. Yeah, I like my ending better, but it's a good movie nonetheless.
I'm chugging.
Well, I think it's flawed. Like I said, I like the whole Anderson's character. I know is a foil, a normal person, more sensitive, empathic foil to Judge Dredd. But she doesn't talk. She talks, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's missing something from that storyline. And I did like that she saved herself when she got captured. I was like, oh god, please tell me she doesn't just wait for Dredd and just become Dredd rescue. And it didn't, thank God. But so that made that. I think her storyline was written decently, solidly. But I did the performance. I think was my issue. And yeah. So what are you giving Dredd?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
I am also giving it a 3.5. I feel like I dunked on it more, and you praised it more. But if I gave the rate a 3, I'm giving this a 3.5.
I don't remember what I gave the rate. I think I gave the rate a 3.5 as well. Do you have it? I
don't have it up.
I'm pulling it up.
You got You got to get a letterbox.
Well, I meant like our thing we have.
Oh, the list.
The Google Doc, because it's in there. I'm pulling it up right now. I believe you shared it with Tito. But yeah, I was 3.5. What I was gonna ask while I'm looking this up is, you didn't see this in theaters at the time, right?
No, I saw it like on Hulu. I'd go on Hulu this time, but I think I saw it on Hulu the first time too.
So I saw it in theaters when it came out in 3D, and this was one of the few movies that did it properly and shot proper 3D, where you do 2 cameras side by side at the perfect thing, and like then they're rigged up and designed that like the closer something gets to it, the more they angle / get closer, so it's like proper 3D perspective. And in the theaters, this movie looked great. Like it had, because it's not the cheesy jumping out of the screen, it's all about the depth. and especially when you have those big like shots of the atrium and everything and shit falling. Like this was I know it would be damn near impossible to watch this in 3D today, but this is one of the few movies that is like absolutely enhanced by 3D.
The Raid is not on the list, by the way.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm looking through it right now, and
It's 2011, right?
yeah.
I put it at the bottom, so yeah, your score is lost if you don't remember. I know mine. I have my letterbox thing, so I have mine.
Gotcha. I'll just look back to the other episode later. But regardless, 3.5. Yeah, if anyone can watch this, obviously try to watch it in the highest quality you can because it's visually awesome. And if you have, obviously, which is damn near impossible, you can see it in 3D. It's amazing.
All right. Yeah. It's good. It's worth watching. It's not like it's flawed, but it's a very fun, enjoyable action flick. And if you're into Dredd, which I found out that 40K Warhammer 40,000 was initially based on a Dredd RPG like tabletop game, and a lot of the early 40K miniatures were Dredd, and it was supposed to be based in that world.
Oh wow, that's sick.
I forget the name of the comic. It's like a date. It's like something AD.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Dredd's actually a super long running comic. We should probably know that we should put that on the record. But I forgot to pull up pictures for Dredd while we were talking. There's a little shot of Lena Headey. 2000 AD. That's the name of it.
That's it. Yeah.
But all right. Any last final thoughts about Dredd?
Well, I'd say watch it. I'd say it's definitely something to watch. If you
definitely.
If you like hard R-rated action flicks,
hard
this is
R's.
the one.
You like hard R's in your end of your words. Watch Dredd. No. But yeah, great cast. Avon Barks. Shout out to Avon Barksdale. Watch The Wire. Every time there'll be a Wire actor, I'm gonna say watch The Wire. All right.
You're gonna immediately have to untype this and type The Killer.
I know. I have to do it for my OCD. No, I'm gonna switch to The Killer. Are we ready? Talk about this movie that has positively changed my life.
I'm switching over my notes. Hold on.
Quite possibly changed my life.
Oh yeah, really?
It was made the year of my birth.
Yeah. I love. I just. I guess I'll get into when we start talking about characters and stuff. I'll hold it. But Chow Yun-fat is cool.
Chow Yun-fat is the coolest motherfucker ever.
I love that John Woo uses Chow Yun-fat, and I love that Chow Yun-fat is not a stereotypical action star looking dude. Like
he's handsome.
He's handsome, but he ain't like because like traditional U.S. action heroes like built and shit. This is just like
he's slender and he's not
great
short. He's tall or for
nothing like that. I mean, straight like he's not a muscle bound hero. Like he's just looks like he could be. He's a handsome man. Like
he's handsome. Yeah, he's definitely handsome. He's the coolest motherfucker. In research for this film, some people refer to Chow Yun-fat as John Woo's muse, and I think that's a pretty accurate distinction. Yeah, Chow Yun-fat is cool as fuck. This movie is cool as fuck. This is like the epitome of cool, but with like some sensitivity. For preface, we watched Hard Boiled on our own like last year or something, a year or so ago, probably maybe 2 years ago. And that blew my mind. It was like this excess of awesome action, but there was these quiet like moments that you're just building up and waiting for the shit to fucking drop. I'm kind of glad we watched that one first because my expectations were that it would be. I knew it wasn't going to be as grand as Hard Boiled, but the action. but a lot of people say that this is his best, and this movie is much more intimate than Hard Boiled or Face. I've only seen Face Off and Hard Boiled, and I think Mission Impossible 2 once. So this will be now my fourth Woo film, and I love it. It's very sensitive. It's very it's not like the deepest story ever, but it's honestly a story about the two men becoming close friends. I feel like is what this movie is about.
I don't know if this is because of, like subtitle translations of what. I felt like my only discrepancy with this movie is I felt like them becoming friends just kind of happened way quicker than it should have, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of this.
I think that even sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I don't think any criticisms I have I feel like are just cultural differences and not so much like in filmmaking style, not so much actual like negative things to say. I think this is phenomenal. I loved everything about this. It was just ridiculous in all the right ways.
Yeah, Shoot 'em Up is very much like this movie,
and I love Shoot 'em Up, and so many people hate that movie.
That movie is very inspired by this film. I think
of
in particular,
course,
because it's got the ridiculousness and the charismatic noir kind of vibe. This movie's very noir inspired. Apparently, I was reading that John Woo wanted this to be a love letter to Martin Scorsese and a French director as well. It's called he directed Le Samurai, which is also translates, I think, to The Killer, which is a noir French film that's supposed to be really good. There's so much style. It's just like it might not be like the craziest premise. In the very beginning, Chow Yun-fat he's a hitman. He's the killer, and he's doing a hit, and a woman there, a singer, a lounge singer, she gets caught in, and a bullet like grazes her eyes, and she goes blind. Or I think that's what happens.
She's right in front of the gun when he shoots.
Oh, and the gun,
the muzzle flash.
The muzzle flash is
and
it.
Shit like hits her in the eyes, and it fucks her cornea.
Yeah, so she's like mostly blind, and I think by the end she goes fully blind. And I don't even think we don't get to see what happens to her.
No, it does kind of just end.
Her story does not resolve, and that's what makes me feel like this movie. This movie is like, you think it's supposed to be about this budding relationship between this hitman and a victim of one of his hits, and like fall in love, and they do, and that is a storyline in the movie. But the way that it's structured makes me feel like it wasn't really about that at all.
Yeah,
it was about more the cop. And
the cop finding
the cop and the hitman,
an assassin, and then the assassin finding humility in each other because they're both people that shoot people for a living, and finding that common thread. And like
they are admirers of like the cop feels like an admirer of Jung, who is Chow Yun-fat's character, does work. In the subtitles that we were watching, I don't know if you watched it on YouTube also, but
yeah, I did.
It's Jeff the whole movie.
Yeah.
So everyone is like Jeff.
Yeah, is it not really? What is it supposed to be? Because what it's supposed to be what?
Jung.
Okay.
I was reading the wiki, and then I could hear it after that. Like every character, when it said Jeff, they say Jung.
What threw me off was, and this is like I know we're still at the beginning of the movie, but towards the end he's just like, tell me your name, I need to know what to remember you by. And I'm like, everyone has that Jenny has been screaming Jeff all around you the entire
I don't think
movie.
it's his real name. It must not be his real name.
I figured it wasn't, but it was just like, at least his name is not Mickey Mouse.
I thought the same thing when he asked that. I'm like, why are you asking that? Why are you asking him that? It's Jeff. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, the cop is like this admirer, but it's like a competitive rivalry. It feels like an anime. Like how very much.
very
like
much.
not the movie doesn't feel like an anime. Well, maybe because the
Yeah,
overtop in
I
style.
think the movie very much feels like an anime, but not in a
Um,
bad way.
no, in the good way, not in like the over explaining exposition way. This is actually
Yeah.
well written.
Mhm.
Um, but the way that there's like a rivalry between two males, and they overcome that to become best friends and defeat an even worse villain. You know
Yeah.
and that's what this is. That's the premise of this movie, and you don't see a lot of these kinds of stories in Western media. And
Mhm.
that's what I was talking to Riss about right before I got on. And then obviously you can read into it that it's like homoerotic, or that it is like that's the deeper layer, that this is like a love story between two men and it is romantic,
Kylie, halfway through the movie, Kylie was like about Jeff and I'm
Lee
blanking on the cop's name, Lee.
Lee
He was just like,
Inspector
oh,
Lee.
you could, yeah. She was like, man, you can really feel the sexual tension in this movie, and I was like,
Riss said the same thing.
yeah,
Riss said the same thing. There's so it's John Woo is
and
such
it's
a
male bonding.
romantic.
Yeah,
He's such a romantic, and but he's also a Christian. Not that that means he wouldn't write about homosexuality, but I don't think that's what his intent was. And I
no,
think it's
I
an
mean,
absolutely a fair reading when you watch the film, to
yeah,
take
I
that
mean,
away from it.
I would read it as just kind of it's like that male bonding experience. Like if you ever had a moment with like one of your friends or
A
best friends
best
or even
friend.
someone new, where it's like, yeah, like as a man, I have deep love for all my friends and my
Yeah, like
closest
you
ones
love them like a
especially.
brother,
And
like a family member.
like,
Like I mean, you love
yeah,
them, and it's honestly
yeah,
it's its own a love, like a platonic love is in its own a deep platonic love is a unique thing,
mhm,
and it is not portrayed in media because I think that is considered and not masculine. But this movie is as masculine as you could get in a lot of ways. So it's like touched with sensitivity, and it is a sensitive film. It is an intimate film. The use of doves and pigeons in this film. He does it
oh,
in hard. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know if it's this because it's doves in a church or if it's hard boiled because I can't remember where the doves are in that, but
It was like a gambling place, and they had a bunch of birds in cages or
yeah.
something.
But I just thought it was like, oh man, this is I'm now understanding where the whole dove stereotype thing comes from with
It's
like
his
actually like
thing. It's
his
his
thing.
thing.
Um,
So apparently I don't think in Hard Boiled, I don't think it's used symbolically, but
mm.
it's absolutely symbolic in this movie.
Yeah,
I don't know the proper reading of it, but it's got to represent some kind of rebirth or growth or some kind of like purity, and like in the end there's a final shootout that's so badass in the end.
oh yeah, I'll
It's
get
in
on
a
to that.
church.
Oh,
It's in a church. The whole hitman organization that Ah Jong works for is based out of a church, a Christian church. And there's actually allusions to other like religions, like Confucian. There's always this shot of
yeah,
like a Confucian shrine of some
yeah, in the
kind,
background.
and there's a few different shots of that. So like there's this holy religion. There's a religious thing to this movie, and Face Off has religious things in it as well. This to a much further degree. Yeah, there's a lot
So
of good use of symbolism and whatnot. But yeah, go ahead.
in the I was gonna say in the beginning of the movie, when it opens, when that sequence where Jenny gets blinded, he is which I know this isn't a big thing, but for some reason it just seems super cool to me. He fucking jumps backwards into this room with two guns, lands on his back to just get the two doormen. I was like, oh, that was such a smart way to do that. Um,
Oh,
those uh,
the
and the
coolest part. I'm unsure if you're about to say this, but the coolest part of the opening has got to be when he stomps on the table, launches the gun up,
yeah,
catches
it
it
catches it
midair, and kills a
fucking
guy.
yeah. That I yeah, that was super cool. And then the I even though this was only a one thing that lasted a second, it just like I can't remember this when Jenny's like describing Chayon Fat or Jeff or not or whatever, but it just cuts to Chow Yun Fat like James Bond style with like a gun, and it just goes from white to like a blood red background on it. And
Oh
it's
my
like, oh, that
god,
was super cool.
this is the coolest part of the movie. It was like James Bond, but it was also like horror movie as fuck. Like
I kind of wanted more of that in there, but it was super cool.
I thought there was gonna be more, but honestly, the fact that he only used it once makes it so much more peculiar. Like not in a bad way. It makes it so unique. It makes it like I'm thinking about this part for the rest of the film. It stylized was awesome, and I think that you could do that in a modern way, and it'd be just as gripping.
I feel like Tarantino does that when he does character introductions in like Inglourious Bastards or in like
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, and even in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, he has used stuff like that. He has used stuff like that. He's super influenced by John Woo. A lot of the '90s guys, Robert Rodriguez, John.
You could just tell just based on the style of
the Wachowskis.
Yeah, let's say with Tarantino specifically, his style and choice of squibs for the blood impacts is so much like, because it's so over the top like in John Woo's stuff, because it's like it's not real, it's just the hyper fucking violence of what's happening, because it's probably, in the moment you're perceiving it as being so much more bloodier and gruesome than it is, but at the same time it is also bloody and gruesome. But I have a note here that I noticed it from the get-go, but I wrote it right when he does the assassination on that the dude's
the
uncle,
politician.
Yeah, and it's a headshot directly in the head. He's dead.
It's the smallest little hole.
Chooses to empty clip anyways. Like, dude, you got him dead in the first shot.
Yeah, no, I thought
and you just have to keep unloading. And then I noticed the entire movie, every single person he kills, he unloads an entire clip on for each person, even though they're dead after the first two shots.
In the end, I was noticed that once. There's like half a clip. It was like 5 shots from each gun, so it's 10 shots into one guy, and then you move on.
It's just about every single person. Especially like in the in that opening fight thing too. Every single gun it's bop 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 on to the next guy. Bop 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 bop. And one of my other notes here, which is that towards the end was. It took them an hour and 40 minutes into the movie to finally run out of ammo and reload.
I thought about because Inspector Lee has a revolver for like a 38 for large portions of the movie. No, they show there's a couple times where they show him have one of those like where it's the 6 bullets together, you just put it in, and I'm just like, dog, the 6 bullets are gone in your first kill because the way you guys fight.
You unload a clip per body. It's so I love it though. It's not, that's where the anime aspect comes in for me, where it's like, it's just, you throw anything else to the wind and it's all just about the fucking action. You're just in it.
Oh, and the Hard Boiled. I think about Hard Boiled and his explanation for how Hard Boiled, they literally have infinite ammo.
Yeah, there's just no reloading at all.
Yeah, because in his explanation is that the reloads are happening during the cuts. You cut out the reloads. They're all there, but you just infer that it's happening. Yeah. And that's a really good choice because it's pace. Like the way he paces things, not just the pacing of the entire film, but the pacing of sequences and shots. Like it gets very quiet and still. He literally uses freeze frames. He literally uses slow-mo from post.
I will say the freeze frames were put in awkward places where I thought that that YouTube crashed on me. Because it would just be like out of nowhere, it'd be a freeze frame. The freeze frame would just be like a second, and then it would fade to or not even fade. It would just cut to something else, or it would fade, or like at the end of the movie, where towards the end of the movie, where it freeze frames on Inspector Lee for like half a second, and then it cuts to Chow Yun Fat and freeze frames on him, and it's like they felt like, to me as like an editor and director and stuff, it came off as like, oh, this looks like an export like error.
I think that it makes it like abstract, like yeah. Apparently, I don't know if you watched that YouTube video I sent you in the middle of the night last night, but I watched it right before bed, and they were talking about the freeze frames in particular, which is they're in Hard Boiled. I don't know, I can't remember if they're in his American films, but they were in Hard Boiled as well. And apparently it's influenced by some French new wave filmmaker. I'm sure it's somebody famous. I just not well watched enough. that would use freeze frames to make you remember a certain expression, a certain look on somebody's face. Like they'd hold
Mm.
it, and because it was awkward and jarring, it would like stick in your mind, and it would be kind of like distilling the emotion onto one face,
Mm.
or something like that. Like so, that I think it's a really creative choice. The way he uses slow mo is very artistic. As much as I shit on Zack Snyder for his use of slow mo, this is and then it's that '90s choppy slow mo. It looks like it's done in post. I don't know if that's how it is, but when it's that old, you probably know more than me. But
Sorry, I was looking at my notes to talk about to reference in that. What was the last part you said?
I was talking about the slow mo here. How he uses the slow
Oh
mo. Does
yeah,
he
so
do
that's what I was
it's in
looking for that in my
post?
thing. No, some of it, yeah, but the a lot of it is true because I have it in here. It's like in the church specifically, it'll be like he gets up fine, and then it's a slow mo of behind his back walking for like maybe 2 seconds, and then it cuts to his front, and it's back to non slow mo, like real speed. And there's a bunch of moments like that where it's just random intercut slow mo that I for some reason I wrote in my notes is like I like this like while I liked Zack Snyder's slow mo, this for some reason just felt different, but I didn't mind it. It was nice. It was
It's not
like
as slow. It's all at one. It's not
yeah,
as slow. So it's not like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Like they're
it's
just
an
doing like
actual motion. It's just slower. Um, and the way he uses it, because also he's influenced. I mean, he's from Chinese. He's Chinese, and he works in
from
Hong
Hong
Kong.
Kong.
There's a lot of influence of martial arts films and kung fu
Mm,
films, and apparently he's done a bunch of them earlier in his career. And you could see that in he uses it even in the most mundane actions with
mm.
the beer scene with his buddy. When
Yeah,
his buddy
yeah.
comes over and they want to
And he like
demonstrate
can't
that
hold the beer.
his hand doesn't work, that there's
Yeah.
all this like it's really quick and you're like, holy fuck, did you just whip that beer at him, dude? And then he like drops it and grabs it with the other hand, and it's like this really fast motion. Or like
Mm,
randomly he'll like open a door like fucking Kramer and just like fly open. It's just it's so smooth and chill and still, and then all of a sudden it's like a fucking lightning strike, and it reminds me, yeah, of martial arts films, particularly those come out of Hong Kong and
yeah.
China.
The fucking what was I gonna say here? The sorry, my camera battery died. But I have a note here that is speaking about like the kind of that kind of shit, but it's kind of different, which is at the end of the movie at the house raid. One, I love that the entire army is wearing matching white uniforms, and then
So they like
the
have
other note,
they have track suits, or they have like these
yes, they're
white
all
track suits.
yeah. I just have it as the matching white mafia.
Oh,
But
even in the end, there's
yeah,
like
it's
a
not
mixture of white sweat. They have
yeah.
hooded sweatsuits, and other like guys in black. And I don't know if that was a choice because of symbolism, or if that was a choice because they really want you to see those squibs. They really want to make
I,
sure you see those
yeah.
squibs on the
They want
white.
you to see how much blood. Like Xiao Yun Fat at the end, he's wearing the all white suit, and the arms are just red, but he's
Everyone's
still
wearing
like
white. There's so
yeah.
much. Everyone's wearing white, so you see all the blood.
Everyone is innocent. But
Um,
I have here Fast and Furious levels of gun accuracy. There are so many instances where the gun is not pointed at who gets shot, but but they get shot.
oh, I
It's
didn't
I mean
know.
it's
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that.
it was yeah, I noticed it once and then I started paying attention to it, and there's just like especially in like the running away stuff when they're just blind, or the car stuff, they're like the gun is not even pointing at anybody, and they're just taking people out. I loved we glossed over this in the beginning. I loved mustache Chow Yun Fat.
Oh my God! Yeah, he looks so smooth. He
Yeah,
looks so smooth.
he was
About
so
both
suave
of
and
his
dapper.
costumes. He had a costume later with like a professor looking,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Freudian looking thing,
yeah.
and he looks so good. He's a good looking man. He's so cool, and he looks good.
I another thing I had here was when he's leaving, he's like sneaking out of Jenny's apartment when they first meet up, and it's like, oh, Dumbo and Mickey Mouse, like the inspector is like waiting for Jeff there.
Oh yeah, their nicknames. Yeah, we got to talk about the Tea Party standoff. Is that what you're getting to? The Tea Party standoff?
Well, yes, but the part I was gonna say is at the end of that, where they're pointing at Chow Yun-fat's pointing a gun at him while Inspector Lee's on the roof, and continually is just like pointing the gun, walking into the car, getting into the car, still like and pointing the gun and everything. It just seemed, I don't know, just I laughed a little bit at it, but it was,
yeah. Riss was like, he had an opportunity to shoot at him when he was getting in the car, and I was like, well, I mean, I know this movie, everyone's accurate, but Inspector Lee just has like a tiny 38, and he's on the top of a roof. There's no way he can accurately shoot at Chow Yun-fat getting into that car. Like, I mean, he can aim at him and threaten him, but I don't think he can accurately shoot from there.
But
I think Chow Yun-fat could accurately shoot up with the gun he had better than the gun. Because I think that if you're a gun nut, there's all the classics show up in this. AK-47s and Uzis and MP5s.
Oh, I love that he used the AK-47s as a sniper rifle in the beginning. It's just like, what the fuck?
Oh, I think that was a Dragunov. I think that was a Dragunov. Because I like that looks like the sniper from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, I saw the what is it, banana clip or whatever with the wood grain, and I was like, oh, this looks so much like a
no. The Dragunovs have wood grain. They can.
Gotcha. But yeah, talking about the tea scene though, I loved the fucking standoff, and they're just, because she can't see, they're just moving the arms around to like make sure it all like works, and
Mickey and Dumbo. This is the part of the movie when it becomes about their fucking love hate relationship.
The bromance.
It's definitely, but it's like it's a hard to get bromance. I think they play hard to get, and it's very a tsundere. If you're into anime, kind of relationship. While I'm thinking of it, one of my favorite sequences, was when he's sitting in that chair smoking that cigarette, and it's like it's sweeping shot through these sliding door window things.
Yeah.
And he's sitting in the chair, and it looks so good already. And I'm like, Riss, look at this. And then when Lee gets into his apartment and sits in the same chair, and he makes the same pose, and it does it again, and I'm like, I already love that. And then it did it again, and every time it swiped through like there was a piece of wood, like the frame of it would switch to the other one, and it looked so good. There was a part earlier when they were at I don't know if it's like a jazz club or it's a music club, and Lee's interviewing Jenny, and Ah-jong shows up while they're talking about him in the doorway, and he's like red. He's all red. It's well lit. And then something walks past, and he's gone. It's like Batman. It looks like Batman in the animated series. And I was like, this was Batman before Batman. This is fucking awesome. I don't know if I don't know if that was in the Tim Burton movies or not. I can't remember.
I'm not sure, but in the scene with the chair, I like that the cop was like, it's almost kind of like
Boondock Saints.
Like when you're kind of you're recreating the thing, and then he like Inspector Lee kicks the chair back and pulls the gun on the other cop, and he falls the exact way as the body.
It reminded me of Boondock Saints. I like shouted Boondock Saints at the TV.
I like that a lot.
And I think Riss brought up Hannibal, and she said Hannibal does that, the show, that he'll like live out, like he's recreating what happened, and it's like living it out.
I was gonna say two things. One, where the Chow Yun-fat shows up in the doorless Jeep, like the white looking doorless Jeep thing.
Yeah, I thought it was like a golf cart, because they only showed the steering wheel, and it was open, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like a safari Jeep kind of a thing, like a outdoor Jeep. I
wanted to ask if you thought this, because I did immediately too, but it's whenever he goes to shoot the main bad guy, and he's got this big ass silver pistol, and he shoots him, and the dude looks like
a Magnum. It looks like it's like a Desert Eagle.
It looks like it hits him in the arm, and his arm looks like it fucking falls off straight up.
Okay,
and both Kylie and I were just like, Did he just shoot his fucking arm off?
So Riz thought that too, and we rewound it several times. I'm like, I honestly can't tell because of the way it's cut.
Yeah.
If that's the bumper of the car, like the fender of the car, or his arm. And then the next shot, it shows him with his arm still attached.
Yeah.
So we figured it out.
So
we thought the exact same thing. I did like the way that they had the blood like squirting out of his shoulder. So it must have been coming from behind the seat through the trunk. And there was like some kind of hose in his fake shoulder, and it just like spurting out. But I've been trying to figure out how practical effects works sometimes.
Yeah. I worked on that Jason, the Friday the 13th like pilot thing. That was like a HBO Max pitch, and it's super cool watching. It's all air cans and running like secret hoses, and then creating, essentially recreating parts of your body or skin, but with the hose in it, and making it so you're unable to tell that there's something there. And then they can either do it like a hand thing, or they can turn on like the condensed air to like do squirts and shit like that. And sometimes squibs are a mix of they're a mix of like air, or they actually do the squib charge. It's super cool. It's very like that's an art form in itself, pulling that stuff off.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
This is one of my last main things that I loved, and that was in the house at the end. Jeff
the beach house, because there's like I thought the beach house was gonna be the end. It was just like, oh, they're just gonna be really long.
It's the last house before the church.
Yeah. And not counting when the friend fight scene.
Yeah, no, it's when the all white tracksuit army comes in.
Yeah, beach house. Yeah.
Chow Yun-fat shoots a guy from inside the house who's outside the house with just a pistol. That man is launched into a tree. Love it. Absolutely fucking love it.
He's got knockback.
The pistol can launch a man into the air, into a tree. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, some of the silly stuff, it somehow works with the style.
Yeah.
Like it just somehow works.
My list is just all of the silly things that I loved. It is like when he's cauterizing the fucking wound with the gunpowder.
Oh my
his hair
god,
is still...
dude! I'm like, this is so unnecessary. And then he immediately after just pours creek water into it.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what defeats the purpose, dude?
And I wrote down whole time, hair is perfect. Perfectly slicked back hair for Jeff. And like all that shit just went down, and from the neck up, perfectly clean, perfectly fine. Not a single hair out of place.
They were by the end of the movie, they were each shot like 4 times.
Yeah. Oh my god, I know. Oh, speaking of the end of the movie, did Chow Yun-fat just get shot in each eye?
Okay. Yes. So this is the most over the top part. They saved it for last. He gets shot in each eye. That's
no, it isn't. It's not graze.
Each eye socket. Right?
Oh
so a bullet went to each eye socket, so that he was blinded and then died. And then I was like, okay, then he's gonna live, right? They blinded him, and now he's gonna live. And no, he dies.
With that, I have when Jeff dies, it's the fakest death I've ever seen in a movie. Because like he's in a position where all he needed to do was just drop his head and he dies, but he goes, and then reaches his arms out and spreads and gets comfortable and falls. Like it's like it was just so not real. Like
when he was like writhing, like he had so much life left.
Yeah,
like, he was like, oh yeah, my eyes, oh, dead.
Yeah, it was funny, but it was good. It worked.
So I don't know if we're ready to start talking about scores, but it's complicated for me. But this film is a masterpiece. You make no doubt about that. Viewers out there, jokes aside, this film is a masterpiece of the action genre and one of the best action movies I have maybe ever seen. But there are flaws with the production side of things, I think. I noticed a big hair hanging off of Lee's face in a shot.
I saw that too.
It
it's only there in one shot.
It grossed, and then it immediately cut, and it was gone. It grossed me out. I keep calling him the janitor, but he was Lee's partner. He ends up in the hospital. So there's a scene where he's like climbing outside to try to catch, flank Chow Yun Fat, and every time it shoots somebody climbing on the building, it is not the same actor. It is a significantly younger person, and taller, thinner, and younger person. And the first time I was like, wait, was that the same guy? Who's that supposed to be? And I realized they were wearing the same red jacket. And then they showed almost the same shot again, and I was like, nope, that is definitely not that guy. It's just like things like that, like the, the crisper production wise, and like some of those like not mistakes, but I don't know, errors in a conventional production is made some of the things that make this movie amazing, like what we would consider a flaw production wise is this makes it unique and gives it such character and style. But there are things like that are like, if we were watching something else, we'd be making fun of that. If this was happened in Army of the Dead, we would point this out as a dunk. And
it all works for me in it.
It works.
It all feels part of it's all in the same world. This is what very early on you're set up to this is how this is gonna be, and all right, I'm into it. I buy it.
It doesn't ruin it for me. It doesn't ruin it for me.
That's what I'm saying. All the henchmen went to the Stormtrooper Academy. But it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Oh, so apparently the body count of this movie is over 300.
Jesus Christ.
Which is it's considered one of the highest. Because he just boom boom, like it's like a video game. It feels like Area 51 or like House of the Dead, where like guys just pop out from behind walls or like in through a window and they die and you shoot boom 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 boom. It feels like a video game. And I know I did that last week with First Blood. But I think it makes sense that video games are obviously, especially a lot of action-oriented video games are going to be influenced by action films.
I mean, wasn't there a movie? Wasn't there a video game like back during like the 2000s or maybe early 2010s that like had Chow Yun Fat in it? It was directed by John Woo.
Yeah, I don't know if it's directed by John Woo, but there is a video game with Chow Yun Fat in it.
But it's like very John Woo vibes type of video game.
Yeah, it might be. It might be directed by. He might be involved or produced or something.
Yeah.
But that might be worth looking into. I want to see all of John Woo's films, so like at least like of his Imperial.
I just need to see
phase.
Face Off. I need to see Face Off.
Well, I want to see A Better Tomorrow. A Better Tomorrow is supposed to be his other, like the big three of his Hong Kong films are Better Tomorrow, The Killer, and Hard Boiled. And then you have Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Face Off, and then Mission Impossible 2, I think, are his best American films.
I found it. It is called John Woo Presents Stranglehold.
That's it.
It was a PS3 and Xbox 360 game.
Oh, wow. I thought it was PS2 for some reason. And isn't it like all those games, like Max Payne and anything with bullet time comes from John Woo. The Wachowskis, the fucking John Woo walked so the Matrix could run, I feel like. I think even John Wick, as much as John Wick I was influenced, I can see the Raid influence and the Old Boy influence. I see Old Boy we gotta watch too.
It's so good. You'd really like it.
The Old Boy influence, I would really want to. I can see the John Woo influence as well. It's the style. It's the so much emotion with so much ultra violence, hardcore brutality. It's not brutal in terms of gore, but just ultra violence, I guess is a better word. But there's like so much. It's romantic, not romantic just in like love, but like in terms of like a romantic like painter. Like it's it feels very romanticized, this story and this action. This was. I'm glad I saw this. If I was ever gonna talk to somebody that's gonna say I want to make an action movie, they need to watch The Killer first. Not first, but they need to watch The Killer. They need to watch Hard Boiled. I want to watch more John Woo movies.
I sent you the trailer for Stranglehold in the Discord. You and I's DMs. If you wanted to like get a refresher on it, because it's
Well, we can put it on the. I don't think it'll.
I don't think it was a copyright strike. This thing's old. It's from 2007, and it's
Well,
it's on somebody else's YouTube channel.
It's from. I'll put the audio on for the podcast.
Honor is his code.
Tiger Hill Entertainment.
Honor is his
Got to
code.
send someone good. Someone clean. Someone the cops won't watch. Gotta be you.
I can't tell if who the star is.
Don't.
Is it Chow Yun-Fat? Yeah, it is. Oh,
It is Giant
Yes.
hell yeah.
It's like
Vengeance is
really
his
low
mission.
res for me.
I mean, I'm watching it through Twitch right now, and it's fine.
Is there no one who can kill this cop for
It's
me?
360p.
I told you not to go in alone.
Love
I
it.
didn't. Brought my true friends.
Man, Thunder's really cracking over here.
Bloodshed is his only option.
The doves.
The
Oh,
doves.
the doves. Bloodshed is his only option. Oh man, look at that. Look how awesome that is. Oh, his head is down ducking and
2007,
just
Chow
firing
Yun-Fat
off,
returns as
unloading
Inspector
infinite
Tequila.
clips. I wonder if in the game you just have
Oh, he's
this-
playing Tequila. Tequila is the character from Hard Boiled.
No way.
Yeah, as I said, he returns as Inspector Tequila.
Wow. We're gonna have to play this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stranglehold.
It's a hard-boiled sequel. Look at that. John
Coming
Wick,
this August.
Sick.
This title. Not
Yeah, I say for some reason talking about this, it just dawned on me. I was like, I swear that there's like
I know, I
video-
remember it too. Oh, wow, so much Max Payne. What's this like a... It's only right. If Max Payne's gonna rip off John Woo, then John Woo then rips off Max Payne. That's the Ouroboros of life. That's the circle of life. But all right, did we give scores? Because we did it.
Not for this. Not for
No,
this. but-
I'm gonna go first. I wanted to preface the flaws thing because that's why I'm not giving it a 5. But other than that, I would be giving this a 5. This is a 4.5 for me.
I agree, 4.5. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is my right kind of ridiculous. Like some people love Fast and Furious franchise for being just dumb and ridiculous, but this is not dumb. This is just
Yeah, this is
ridiculous.
smart and ridiculous. That's how I
Yeah.
feel about this. This feels smart, but it appeals to the dumb. I feel like a dumb person can, not dumb, but someone who's into more basic things can enjoy this as long as they don't get put off by or they don't get put off by like the lulls in it, but or not the lulls, but the quieter parts of it. But God, it is so good, so good. Oh,
I definitely 4.5. Solid 4.5. Like I said, any of the complaints I have are probably things that were just one, it's from 1989, and two, culturally, things that probably work better for that
didn't talk about
era
this.
of cinema.
We didn't talk about the score. It's a really interesting score. I mean, it's very 80s, but like synths and stuff, and like of its time. But I really like the score. Oh, we forgot to talk about the little girl who got shot, and he had to take her to the hospital in the crossfire. And there's so much to unpack. We barely grazed over the friend with the hand, who was like also a hitman and.
And then who gets the shit kicked out of him to try to get Chow Yun-Fat's money for him, and then ends up getting killed anyways. How about Chow Yun-Fat kills him?
Mercy
so that
kills
he
him.
Yeah. Oh man, it was Sydney. Poor Sydney.
Oh yeah,
It's probably
Sydney
not
is
the
not.
name.
I don't think Sydney was the character's actual name, but
Yeah, I was curious
Sydney
if
Fung.
the
Sydney Fung.
okay. I was curious halfway through because of some of the name stuff, as if like is this the actual thing or is this fan subtitles?
I wonder if it was when it was localized. They changed some of like Jenny's name is already Jenny. They just changed some of the other names to be more American or Western.
Because in the credits, 2 of the names in the credits are written in English, like for the first names, it being Jenny and someone named Frank are the 2.
Yeah, I saw that too.
But everybody else's name was written in Chinese. Yeah, look at that face. This was a cool scene with the train on the.
Oh yeah, so
and-
Sydney Fong's character's real name is Feng Se.
Gotcha. Also,
And then the
nuts
bad guy is called Johnny Wang in our version, but his name is actually Wong Hoi.
Gotcha. Johnny Wang.
And Frank Chen was the dude with the grenade launcher that didn't ever talk. That they paid. He was like the big bad at the end, you know.
Yeah. He just fucking didn't talk. He had the massive like black sunglasses on, and it was just like, and he asked for such a small amount of money versus like Chow Yun Fat was supposed to get 1.5 million for a job, and this guy comes in and he's like, I want 100,000 up front and 200,000 after. And it's like that seems like you're really underselling yourself right here.
Even this fucking trailer is awesome. It just reminded me how beautiful this film is. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Don't give a shit about the language barrier. This is a great movie. It's one of the I consider one of my favorite maybe movies ever. I'm excited to watch it again. I want to watch Hard Boiled again also because of this. But all right, that's it. That is it.
Damn. All right, what's up
stop
next
this
week?
trailer before I get even more copyrighted. So what is next week? Let me pull up the BOOMFEST. BOOMFEST. Boom, boom, boom. Part 3 next week is Heat and Atomic Blonde.
Ooh, that'll be exciting.
I'm really been wanting to see Heat. And then did you want to tackle on Space Jam, or what did you want to do for that?
I don't know.
We could
I'm
do a
trying to think if I'm gonna have
bonus.
the time.
If you don't, that's fine. That's fine.
I have because I work Sunday and Wednesday all day, and then I finish a color grade sometime the next week, and I have a writing session on either Monday or Tuesday. But I think if it's streaming on HBO Max for free, I could probably swing it.
Well, if you're, that's only if you were gonna watch it with somebody else. Honestly, it's gonna. If I wasn't gonna watch it, I'd have to watch it like today or tomorrow if we were gonna do it.
We were gonna try to watch it last night. I had a bunch of friends over for like a little get together. We do like a drive-in movie night where it's just I have a big backyard. I live out on a farm for those who don't know. And we just got last time we got a projector screen and I got a projector and we got a bunch of chairs out of the fire and we watched Starship Troopers. So this time we were gonna try to do.
Wait, you watched Starship Troopers?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I know. I want to do it for the cast.
Oh hell yeah, we'll do it for the cast. I'll rewatch that. I've watched that a million times.
Yeah, well, I watched a million. Oh, also I remember I mentioned that this movie, The Killer, was a tribute to Martin Scorsese and another French director. The French director is Jean-Pierre Melville, and the name of the movie is La Samurai, in 1967.
Nice. But what I was gonna say was we were gonna try to watch Space Jam, but it ended up raining, so we just did an indoor hanging out thing. Vax gang only.
Yep.
But,
yeah, no, that's cool. All right, well, we can wrap it up. We'll leave it out. We'll leave it out there and leave it nebulous about Space Jam. But at the very least, BOOMFEST will continue. Part 3, Heat, Atomic Blonde, July 23rd. Also, I wanted to mention that we do now have an RSS feed up for those that are prefer the audio style. We have an RSS feed. Let me show you what it looks like. And we're already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, a couple smaller things, Stitcher. If you use any of those. So if you want it on the go and you can't have YouTube up, use these. But we'll still keep streaming it and we'll keep it on YouTube and doing the thing. But I appreciate y'all if anyone's out there sticking around, and we'll be back next week. And thank you. I love you.
Sounds good. I love you too.
Bye. Have a good one, guys.
Later.